The rumors are true. Yes, we are moving to ESPN. They have officially bought Flock Fantasy. I don't think too much is going to change, right? I mean, we're still going to be wearing a suit. We'll still be live streaming every single day, and we will still be getting into fantasy football drafts every day. We are just going to be on ESPN from now on rather than on YouTube. So please don't get upset with me. We haven't sold ourselves out just yet until that offer comes in. Come on, ESPN, hit up your boy. Let's go ahead and let's hop into a Best Ball Mania draft, ladies and gentlemen. Got in a couple drafts this morning, had a ton of fun in the drafts, and built some monstrous teams. So let's go ahead and Zach telling us we're late. My man, maybe 30 seconds late. Live stream scheduled for 3. What? We're live at 3:01. What are we doing here? J-Wall out here. Happy to see all of y'all. Thank you so much, guys. And I saw earlier, Tommy knows, welcome to being a flocker, my man. Love seeing the little bird emoji, goose emoji, duck emoji, whatever you want to call it next to the name. Thank you, my man. And we're picking at 12. Now, usually I would see pick 12 and go, God, this is going to suck. I don't want to have to deal with this. But. This morning I had a draft at 12 and I killed it. This morning I had a draft at 12 and it was one of my favorite drafts that I've had in a long, long time. So we'll be able to make it work. And as we get this going, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to get into our next draft, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. That's where we draft every single day. That's where we won $150,000 last year. And this draft here is Best Ball Mania. It is the $25 buy-in tournament on Underdog, the $15 million prize pool with $3 million to first place. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, you are going to get my rankings. You are going to get a 100% deposit match. And if you are a member of both flockfantasy.com and Underdog Fantasy, you're going to get some exclusive merch and Underdog credit going your direction very, very soon. But let's go. My trick says, how do I get the goose? Yeah, so if you want to get the goose next to your name, like Mark Award, you have to be a member on YouTube. We're going to do a lot of like member-only streams during the season as we get closer to the year. Y'all know these live streams will get really, really crazy as we get closer to the season where it's hard to keep up with chat. So that's when we're mainly going to do those member streams, but it is what it is. Charlie says, finally got in one with you. Happy to see you, my man. Tristan says, what's the draft format for this? So yeah, it's going to be an 18-round draft. It is going to be best ball, which means we are not submitting our starting lineup. That is being done for us automatically at the end of every week. If you randomly have DJ Chark popping off for 30 points, he'll slide into your starting lineup that week at the end of the week. That's how I drafted over 700 teams here last year because there's no time commitment during the season. Now, Devontae Adams goes off the board at 10. Okay. We're going for it. Okay. If Lamb would have fallen to us, we would have been excited and we would have been able to start with a wide receiver. I am sorry. I do not view Garrett Wilson in the same tier as CeeDee Lamb. I am sorry. I know I am probably an idiot, but I cannot take Garrett Wilson over Austin Eckler, over Jonathan Taylor. It is very difficult to make an underdog draft work starting off with 2 running backs. The way that draft boards fall, it's really hard to find mid-round wide receiver value that you like, and it is much easier to find middle-round running back value that you like. For that reason, in the vast majority of leagues, I am trying to grab our wide receivers early, and I am trying to get running backs in the middle rounds. Now, like I said, that's our general draft strategy. We are going to have to go through and we are going to have to mix things up a little bit whenever our choice is Garrett Wilson or Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson or Austin Eckler. I can't take Wilson there. I know a lot of smart people are, though. Now, Alex says, can you not be a member on an iPhone? Well, obviously, this is regarding the YouTube memberships. You can get in Underdog drafts on an iPhone. That's where I draft the majority of them. But with YouTube memberships, I think it's because like the App Store takes 30% of any subscription revenue that any apps have. No, Google does not let you do YouTube memberships through your iPhone app. To do a membership, you either have to be on Android or you have to do it from the computer. So I was really confused about that for the longest time. Okay. Ryan says, dang, man, you're always picking at the back half of drafts. Underdog has it out for you for real. I did get into 3 drafts this morning, and I believe 2 of them we were actually at the top half, and one of them we were at pick 12. Like I said, one of the drafts we had this morning that we did at pick 12, I loved our team. If I could repeat it, I will be very, very excited about it. So, but yeah, it does seem like the vast majority of drafts that we have on the live stream, sadly, we are picking at the back half, which is, in my opinion, much more difficult, but that's just my opinion. Okay. Now, T. Higgins off the board, 21. So you're seeing wide receivers slide up this board. Higgins, Smith usually go at the 2-3 turn. Both these guys going in the middle of the second round, going ahead of Nick Chubb. You're also seeing quarterbacks fall a considerable amount. Here you have Patrick Mahomes going at pick 23. Let's see what these teams do on the turn here. If this team that went Justin Jefferson in round 1 decides to pass on both Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, it's maybe the first time in a long time that I've seen both Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen fall to round 3. So let's see what they do. Hopefully, if they're on auto, that's definitely going to mess up some things. They go Josh Allen. Okay, so they start off with Justin Jefferson and Josh Allen. What are they doing from here? Derrick Henry picked 25. I'm completely fine. Derrick Henry in 3rd round. Keep in mind, it's going to be a half PPR league. Okay. Rick says, I know last year you were a big Waddle guy. This year, do you prefer Waddle or Garrett Wilson? I'll probably go Garrett Wilson now that you have the quarterback upgrade with Aaron Rodgers. So Lamar Jackson going before Jalen Hurts. Interesting. So you're going after that Lamar Tyreek week 17 matchup. Jalen Hurts making it to pick 28 here. Like I said, personally, I haven't really been drafting any of these elite level quarterbacks, but that's because in the majority of them, they go mid round 2. If you're getting Jalen Hurts pick 28, I'm jumping up and down with excitement. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Okay. Sportis says, is this a mock draft or does it count? This is a very real draft, my friend. We can win $3 million in this draft. This is a $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool. Every draft on Underdog is a real money draft. And in my mind, that makes it so much better because if you're just getting into a draft where nobody has a buy-in, then what's going to happen is everybody leaves by round 5 and you're just drafting against a computer, which doesn't help you at all. Dylan says, what's the deal with the week 17 hype? So essentially, when you're in these large field tournaments and you're looking at how massive week 17 is, where you are seeing the jump from like $1 million second place to $3 million in first place, etc. A lot of people want to optimize for week 17. A lot of people want to go through and try to get the highest ceiling they could possibly have for that week. And they want to get correlation not only with their individual stacks by stacking, of course, guys like Justin Herbert as well as Mike Williams, but also getting the bring back to that stack. Okay, so Justin Fields goes, Mark Andrews goes. So we're going to take Amari, and do we reach on Christian Watson? We are going to. No, what? We're definitely taking Amari Cooper here. 100%. The thing is, Travis Etienne in my mind is so much of a better option than Christian Watson. Oh my gosh. If we go Travis Etienne, though, we're probably going to make the mistake that we've made so many times before, and we don't give ourselves a lot of flexibility to maneuver the draft board later on. And we'll really just be hoping that it's a $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool. I'm going to shoot for the highest ceiling possible. We'll take Travis Etienne and really hope that we have some wide receivers falling to us that we like later on. It's definitely putting ourselves in a position where this can be a horrendous team. Like, the floor with this team is going to be extremely low, But if things break our way, we could possibly have the upside that we're looking for. If things don't break our way, if instead we have no wide receivers that we like later on, it may be the exact opposite, right? We may be in a position where this is just a throwaway team and we have literally no upside here. Definite possibility, but nonetheless, we will see what happens with it. B-Dub says you should have just took ETN, which we did, my friend. We did. John says pretty unique build, though. Definitely a unique build. And the reason it's a unique build is because it's very difficult to make it work. We'll see if we can. We'll see if we can piece this thing together. It's definitely not a guarantee, though. It's not like we're sitting here going, oh my gosh, we have Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne. I'm going to crush y'all. Like, no. I mean, it's a little scary. But we have a run of wide receivers here, as you'd usually expect. What's interesting is you have Christian Kirk going off the board at pick 40. The reason you have Christian Kirk going off the pick 40, off at pick 40 here, I'm going to assume this, is because you had Calvin Ridley at 33. So this team is setting up the double stack to get Trevor Lawrence. So they're going to go ahead. They're going to have Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and then they're going to get Trevor Lawrence at 57. I'm going to assume. Now, if they don't get Trevor Lawrence at 57, we may be getting Trevor Lawrence at 60, 61. We'll figure it out. Okay. Concealed says Ridley at 33. Any analysis with this? This is where he goes in drafts. It seems like every live stream I ask y'all what your opinion is on Calvin Ridley there, so I don't want to go down that road again. But yeah, in the vast majority of leagues, Calvin Ridley's going to pick 33, 34, 35 on Underdog. Okay. Now we have TJ Hawkinson goes, Eric, welcome to being a flocker, my man. Super happy to see it. We may be at 10 members on this channel now. That is awesome. I know YouTube sent us a notification like last week that we had 5 members of the flock. I'm going to reach out to Zach in the flock and see if he can get working on some custom emojis for y'all. Happy to see it, my man. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'm going to try to get some custom emojis for y'all. And like I said, as we get closer to the season, over the next few months, we'll definitely have a lot of members only live streams. Okay, so now Terry McLaurin going off the board, pick 50, Keenan Allen 51. Clearly we would really like to have these wide receivers falling to us, but in reality, it's just never going to happen. You're never going to get McLaurin pick 60. You're never going to get Keenan Allen to pick 60. Cade says Alexander Mattison is a must draft today. My friend, I would agree with you, but Alexander Mattison is my most drafted running back on Underdog so far. I have been making sure for a very long time now that we are getting Alexander Mattison in every single draft. And the reason for this is when we used to get Alexander Mattison round 9 and 10, we were saying it's likely Dalvin Cook is not a Minnesota Viking this next season. And if Dalvin Cook is not a Minnesota Viking, then Alexander Mattison should be a round 4 selection. And even if Dalvin Cook is a Minnesota Viking, then Alexander Madison's still going to be going in round 9 and round 10. So it's a pick that had so much upside with very little downside. Now it's going to be a little tougher, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Now George Kittle going off the board at pick 54. JSN goes. Justin Herbert goes 56. That sucks for us. I would have really liked getting Justin Herbert to pair up with Austin Eckler, pick 60. Trevor Lawrence goes pick 57. Lawrence could have been someone we would have taken to pair up with ETN if we didn't have any other values that we liked. Miles Sanders off the board. We're going to take 2 wide receivers. We're going to go with Godwin, Ayuk, or Mike Evans. We're just going to get 2, whoever's left over. Maybe we make some Kyle Pitts. We're not going to go running back here, though. I'll see what happens. Harry says, thoughts on Kittle this year? I've actually drafted a lot of Kittle. I don't necessarily think Kittle's some phenomenal value. What I do think, however, is it's a very appealing price point on George Kittle. Okay. Let's try to figure out what we're going to do on the way back around. Okay. I really want to take Kyle Pitts. I've been taking Pitts a lot. The thing is, Pitts been falling a lot to late round 6. We'll go ahead and instead we'll take Ayuk as well as Mike Evans to allow us to have some flexibility later on. What I would have really liked to have is the combo of Godwin and Evans to get some correlation in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense there. But maybe we showed our hands by saying that we were going to take 2 wide receivers. I felt like it was pretty obvious that we were going 2 wide receivers, though. Joe Mixon goes immediately afterwards. I mean, strong Joe Mixon selection, of course. Joe Mixon, I think, is a perceived value for the vast majority of people on Underdog right now. Okay. Kyle Pitts off the board at 65. Like I said, Kyle Pitts has been someone we're taking in a decent amount of these leagues. I just do like grabbing Kyle Pitts after he falls. Ryan says Godwin, Evans, then Baker round 18. I was thinking about it, my friend, but Godwin gets sniped for us, so we weren't able to go Godwin, Evans. Okay. So let's see. Aaron Jones, Tyler Lockett goes. Another reason why we double tap the wide receiver position in here is I don't want to be in a position where at the 8-9 turn, we're having to look at like Zay Flowers and Michael Thomas as the best wide receivers available. I really didn't want to put ourselves in the position where we were having to draft guys like Zay Flowers, Michael Thomas, Cortland Sutton there. I mean, I would have literally cried myself to sleep tonight if we did that. So I feel like if we go Ayuk and Evans here rather than Kyle Pitts, well, we're still hoping that we have wide receivers that we like falling to us. It's not mandatory that we are drafting wide receivers. Blueberry says, Mason, if you win the $3 million, will you still post YouTube videos for us? Yes, of course, my friend. Now, if we're going to be real with each other, this is clearly, if I had to go into life and choose my dream jobs, like if I had to make a list of saying, Mason, you are so talented, you could do anything that you want, choose your dream jobs, top 5. I'd probably have like professional athlete, number 1. Number 2 would probably be doing what I'm doing. So, yes. If I win the $3 million in Best Ball Mania, I will still be doing the same thing next year. The only difference is, if I'm going to be honest with you, I probably won't be doing it as much. Y'all know during this season, I probably work about 80 hours a week. That 80 hours a week will definitely be slimmed down to about 40. So, I don't know if we'd be able to have the same type of motivation to just go out there and grind. But we'd go from like daily, nightly live streams to instead probably every other day live streams. And then probably go from like 2 to 3 videos a day to 1 to 2 videos a day. Noah says, where did you go to college? University of Texas at Austin, my friend. Trailhead Burks, Gabe Davis. Margaret Word says that $3 million is probably only 1.5 after taxes. My man, did you just say it's only 1.5 million? Very interesting word placement with only there. I mean, I don't know if we're wanting to downplay what $1.5 million is, but G guy says, hope you don't win the mill then. Well, thank you, my man. Thank you. Now, George Pickens goes 77. Hollywood Brown goes 78. All right. I had Anthony Richardson falling to us at pick 104 earlier today. I tweeted out that team, actually. I mean, we were getting some ridiculous values with that team. Alexander Madison goes there, pick 80. So you're seeing Alexander Madison 100% climb up draft boards. Where, like I said, we were getting him in around 9 and 10 when he was my most drafted running back. Now, if he's going round 7, I'm probably going to sit on the sidelines and see what happens with Dalvin Cook. Just because I already have so much of him, I don't necessarily feel like we have to be drafting him round 7. Okay. Dell's squad on the clock has Fields, Sanders, Adams, Garrett Wilson. Goes David Montgomery here. We can take a running back if we want because we've gone with the wide receivers over the past 2 rounds. I mean, we only have 3 RBs. Jordo's sitting with Najee, Mixon, goes Deontay. Crap, I really wanted Deontay Johnson. It is what it is. A lot of people would say to take Deshaun Watson here to stack with Amari Cooper, and I think a lot of people would probably be correct in that argument, but I am probably going to deviate just a bit. I've seen Deshaun Watson fall to the very end of the 9th round for the Amari Cooper owner more than once. So instead, we're going to take Darren Waller and then also grab another wide receiver in Quentin Johnston just to maintain the flexibility that we have. We have another Los Angeles Charger in Austin Eckler. Like I said, I think there's an outside chance we get one of Deshaun Watson, Anthony Richardson making it back to us on the way back around. I've seen both of these quarterbacks fall a considerable amount for the teams that had their natural stacks. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, like I said, I just took Anthony Richardson and picked 104 in a draft today. And Deshaun Watson may actually be my most drafted quarterback at this point just because he falls considerably behind ADP in the vast majority of leagues that I'm in. So if I'm looking at this so far at running back, we have Eckler, Taylor, Etienne. Wide receiver, we have Amari, Ayuk, Mike Evans, Quentin Johnston. And then tight end, we have Darren Waller. So we're also putting ourselves in the position where we can take Daniel Jones if we would like to later on. Okay. Let me see how much Deshaun Watson I have, because I have a lot of Watson. Yeah, so we have Zay Flowers and Michael Thomas going directly after. To my mind, just Quentin Johnston's in a completely different tier than those guys. This is like once Johnston goes, it's like, and maybe you throw Zay Flowers into there. I don't know. It is just such a fall at wide receiver. I don't want to have to take like any wide receivers for the next 2 to 3 rounds. Whereas quarterback, you're going to have a decent amount of players making it back. So Deshaun Watson is my third most drafted quarterback behind Trey Lance and Desmond Ridder. I have Watson in 16% of my leagues. Okay, Watson goes 91. Sadly, it's not going to make it back to us to pick 108. It is what it is. T. Nelly says, bro, I live in Louisiana. Every year I take a weekend trip to Texas and draft all day. It still works. Definitely sucks living in like a state where you can't draft an underdog. I mean, I had a road trip last summer where we went from Florida to Texas and I was like drafting just literally nonstop to kill the time. And I was just firing up. I don't know. Maybe Puppy 3 was live at that point. And then I was just getting in puppy draft after puppy draft after puppy draft. And then once we crossed over into Louisiana, I like hit enter draft and it said like, sorry, Underdog's not available here. Or something of that tune. I was like, oh crap. And real quick, of course, these are the states Underdog's available in. And these are the states that Underdog is not. So Underdog's going to be available in every state that is not black. So the black states on this map are Louisiana, Nevada, Michigan, Connecticut, Washington. Those are the big ones. You have some small ones as well, but the vast majority of leagues you can play Underdog in. I mean, states you can play Underdog in. 45, 46. Play everywhere in Canada but Ontario. But yeah, just let me show that map because I know a lot of people live in like California. A lot of people live in Texas, Florida, and think that they can't get in Underdog drafts. You can, my friend. You just have to be 18 years old or older. But real quick, Sutton goes, Bateman goes. So I don't necessarily think there are too many wide receivers left, right? Like if you were looking at wide receivers, maybe you're looking at like Elijah Moore. I'd assume the Deshaun Watson team takes Elijah Moore on the way back around. I would kind of like to get Elijah Moore to pair up with Amari, but it is what it is. I think the probability that we get Elijah Moore based on him being the best wide receiver available according to ADP is not great, not great. John asking how much Waller we have. I see you grab him a lot. To be honest with you, I haven't drafted much Waller. I feel like maybe we're close to market average on Darren Waller right now. I mean, I'll go through and I'll tell you how much I have. Just give me a second. I'll look it up. Okay, so we have Richardson and Njoku off the board as well as Alvin Kamara. We have a lot of flexibility with what we can do with our next pick. I don't necessarily think we're looking for a single position to fall. I think we can just kind of sit on our hands and let the value come to us. I have Darren Waller in 8% of drafts. So I'm like right on average with Darren Waller. My most drafted tight end right now is David Njoku. Now, and the reason for that is I just draft a lot of Deshaun Watson. Like I get a lot of 8th round Deshaun Watson, 9th round David Njoku. So A.J. Dillon, Alvin Kamara, Elijah Moore, all off the board. Players I definitely like and players I'd have been excited about grabbing. Okay, so Cousins not really going to be in play for us here. I mean, we don't have Hawk. We don't have Addison. We don't have Jefferson. I'm not dying to go through and grab KJ Osborne. We don't even have Alexander Madison. Okay. Geno goes 103. Geno was also not someone that we were looking at. So our main guy that we'd be looking at here would be Daniel Jones since we have Darren Waller. Samaje Perine goes 105. I wasn't really looking for Samaje Perine. I probably want to wait until the very end of this draft and grab 2 more running backs. I know a lot of people would only grab 1 more from here, but personally, I think that the running back value in the later rounds is probably a little more appealing than wide receiver. Rodgers goes 106. Dak Prescott goes. I honestly was going to take Dak from this team if they thought they could get by with passing him to us. So I think we're going to lock in Daniel Jones. And then honestly, I may take Freiermuth as well. Not in love with the wide receivers in this range. I really do like Pat Freiermuth. And I think if we take Pat Freiermuth here, we can be done at drafting 2 tight ends. So we'll take Daniel Jones to stack up with Darren Waller. We'll take Pat Freiermuth. Now we are in a position where we only have to draft 2 tight ends, and we can have that extra roster spot for wide receiver. I don't necessarily think the wide receivers that are in this range are any better than the guys we're going to be looking at a round from now, 2 rounds from now. And I definitely think you are going to get that fall off at tight end. Like, I really like grabbing Pat Freiermuth at his ADP. Definitely a player that I need more of. Okay. But yeah, let's show off this team. I think that we've made it work, right? I don't want to sit here and act like, oh my gosh, this is the best team I've ever drafted. Y'all are suckers, blah, blah, blah. No. I think we can say that we made it work. At running back, we have Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne. At quarterback, we have Daniel Jones. At tight end, we have Darren Waller and Pat Freiermuth. And then at wide receiver, we have the combo of Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, as well as Quentin Johnston. So we definitely need more wide receivers in. I think we're going to be able to get a decent amount of help at wide receiver in general. So yeah, I think we will be in a pretty good situation. If let's see. Okay. Ted says really likes the team. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Nick says that team is actually solid though. Wesley asking if we have a grinder in our hand, my friend. This is. Let me show this real quick, just to make sure there's no confusion. This is the cap to the water bottle, my friend. It's cap to a water bottle. What the hell do you think of me? Now, Jacoby Myers off the board here, 113 after Penny, Devon Achane. Kirk Cousins does go at 110. Wonder if this guy has any Minnesota Vikings or if he just really likes the value you're getting on Cousins there. No Vikings. I mean, he has Lamb. I mean, he's stacked up with Dak. I was really hoping that he was going to think that he could pass on Dak Prescott and then get Dak on the way back around at 110. But, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, Dylan says if Waller can stay healthy, you're golden. Yeah, I mean, with Waller, obviously the big thing is we've seen him command a decent target share in years past when there are no other wide receivers in his offense. It really does come down to the level of competition that you have with Darren Waller, though, and that we saw last year whenever you add in Devontae Adams, someone who is actually talented at the wide receiver position, naturally the targets are going to plummet. Okay, so Sky Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster go. So we have a little run on wide receiver. Very interesting to see Jacoby Myers, Odell Beckham Jr., as well as Allen Lazard all go ahead of Juju. I mean, I really like Juju back from his early years in Pittsburgh. So maybe I'm a little bit biased here. But I mean, in my mind, Juju is most likely the wide receiver 1 in New England. While, yeah, it's a low volume passing attack still. I mean, we that excited about Jacoby Myers being potentially the 3rd option in Vegas. We don't really know anything about Odell. Allen Lazard, potentially the 3rd option for the Jets. I don't know. I'm fine taking Juju. Okay. Now, Elijah Mitchell goes. Mitchell would have been someone I'd been excited about grabbing, as well as Rashee Rice. And that is a little painful there. And real quick, oh my gosh, we have 500 people watching this. Thank you so much for everybody coming out and hanging out with us. If you have not done so already, please make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes on the stream. That'd be awesome if you could go down there and be our 200th like. Andrew says, I was in your morning draft. You were pick 12. I was just talking about that draft, my friend. Zay Jones, 124. Darnell Mooney, 123. Okay, let's swing this back around. I mean, if we're looking at some potential quote-unquote stacking options, I mean, Jonathan Mingo, Adam Thielen, maybe we could take both those guys and then get Bryce Young the way back around. In reality, I doubt we have the ability to take both those wide receivers, just how the ADP looks right now. Instead, maybe we're going to grab 2 running backs and then be done at the running back position. I mean, we're pretty much done at tight end. Even if we think Dalton Schultz is the best value on the board, I don't think we can take Dalton Schultz. Well, we'll see what happens, though. I mean, there are a couple teams before us that need another tight end, so maybe he's not even there. Best quarterbacks, you have Kyler. We don't have any Arizona players, and Kyler is definitely someone you can get significantly behind ADP. You have Derek Carr. We don't have anybody for New Orleans, and I'll definitely take Derek Carr whenever we have Olave, whenever we have Kamara, but, I mean, there's no reason to take him here. I mean, we have Jordan Love. We don't have any Packers players. I'm kind of viewing this as like a 3-quarterback build where we wait a couple more rounds to grab our next 2 QBs. Okay, Romeo Doubs goes off the board 129. Antonio Gibson goes 130. So, yeah, you do have these tight ends falling. It's going to be difficult for us to take a tight end. Maybe if all our guys go, we take Dalton Schultz and just go with the 3 tight end approach and then only grab 2 quarterbacks. Jared McKinnon goes, so I do not like Jonathan Mingo. And you know what? For the respect of Adam Thielen and DJ Chark in this offense, where I'm not a Jonathan Mingo fan, where I do not think he's the wide receiver 1, out of respect of old man Thielen, I will take him over Jonathan Mingo. But if we're looking at this roster construction, we also desperately need some wide receiver help. Y'all know I like stacking wide receiver teammates together. It's a natural spot to take both Adam Thielen as well as Jonathan Mingo. And at the same time, we are putting ourselves in the position where we can take Bryce Young a little later on. So even if I'm not a big fan of Jonathan Mingo, from a roster construction standpoint, it does make a lot of sense to just go ahead and double tap the wide receiver position here. So let's go ahead and let's show this team off. I mean, I'm fine with this team. Running back again, we have Eckler, Taylor, Etienne. Wide receiver, we have Amari, Ayuk, Mike Evans, Quentin Johnston, Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo. Tight end, we have Darren Waller, Pat Freiermuth. And then at quarterback, we have Daniel Jones. So right now, I'm expecting that this is going to be a team where we draft 3 QBs, where we draft most likely 5 running backs, 2 tight ends, and 8 wide receivers. Okay, so we have Jordan Love going. Dalton Schultz still falling. Let me know what y'all think of Dalton Schultz. In my mind, he's not a good tight end, right? But I mean, if you're just looking at what you have overall in Houston, you have nobody to go to. Like, if you have nobody to go to with Dalton Schultz, maybe it just makes some sense to go through and I don't know, maybe. Of course, I mean, I'm kind of hoping people take tight ends. We already have 2 on our team, but okay. Loco saying Team 6 is looking good. Okay, let's go ahead and let's pull up what Team 6 looks like. So CMC, yep, CMC definitely a unique pick. There you go. Devonta Smith over Chris Olave. That's interesting. Breece Hall 30, Jerry Jeudy 43, George Kittle 54. I really like the Dameon Pierce pick 67 value. Hollywood Brown 75. I think that's strong value. Watson, Elijah Moore, great picks. Allen Lazard 115. Personally, I'd probably go Juju there. I mean, I think it's a strong team. I don't want to sit here and act like it's the best team we've ever seen, but yeah, I definitely think it's a strong roster. Now, Roshan Johnson goes off the board 141. Okay. Nick says, how many likes do we need for another draft? Considering the fact that I have another live stream scheduled after this one for the Dynasty channel, probably a decent amount. Let's say like 500 people watching this. If we had 400 likes in the live stream, we'll fire up another draft after this one. Okay, so Alec Pierce goes, I mean, we have taken a decent amount of wide receivers where we are currently needing 2 more quarterbacks, 2 more running backs. So not necessarily crying seeing these wide receivers go off the board. I mean, we'll just take whatever value falls to us. We're more so looking to just get as much blue off this draft board as we can. Like, we want to see some tight ends go. We just want to see blue, blue, blue. Raheem Mostert goes 147. Higbee goes 148. Higbee pick helps us definitely. Okay. Let's swing this back around. Okay, so you have some wide receivers here. Gallup, Osborne, top of ADP. Osborne literally never goes at his ADP, though. This is a player that legitimately falls in pretty much every single draft. I don't know if I've ever seen him go at ADP. Gallup goes 150. Gallup would have been someone I would have been excited about drafting. Shaheed goes 152. Cody coming out says, a favorite draft position this year, ? And then also least favorite. My man, thank you so much for the donation. I'd say easily favorite draft position this season is going to be a top 2 pick. Least favorite draft position this season is going to be pick 12, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, so I think maybe we can't take tight end. We grab the handcuff running back in Tyler Algier. And then there's another handcuff running back I like, but maybe instead we want to grab a wide receiver. Sorry, I'm just thinking here for a second. Donovan Peoples-Jones does pair up with Amari. Y'all know I do like stacking these wide receiver teammates together. Even if we don't have the quarterback, I still find it advantageous. So yeah, we'll take Donovan Peoples-Jones as well. Let's go with the handcuff running back, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and I will feel more comfortable about having a 5 running back build here if we don't take a running back in round 14, and instead if we wait another round or 2 to grab another running back. And then in terms of the quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford doesn't do anything for us. While, yeah, Bryce Young, we do stack up with Adam Thielen and Jonathan Mingo. I never see Bryce Young go at his ADP. Bryce Young is pretty much someone who always falls. Okay. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, I know Jason was asking if we should go with him. You can make a strong argument that we should have gone with Wan'Dale. Not going to argue with you at all on that front. I mean, Wan'Dale obviously stacks with Daniel Jones. Not only does he stack with Daniel Jones, but at the same time, I mean, I just really like Wan'Dale Robinson in general. Loved him as a prospect. And on top of this, you were looking at Wan'Dale, in my mind, I mean, with a phenomenal rookie season before the injury, or at least he definitely flashed talent. So maybe you want to make the argument, go Wan'Dale Robinson. I would have definitely been willing to reach on Wan'Dale Robinson based on ADP, if we didn't have Amari Cooper to kind of correlate with Donovan Peoples-Jones there. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Kobe Short says, are you entering any of the high-stakes low drafts on Underdog? Yes, I'm currently in 2 high-stakes slow drafts on Underdog. I entered in to both the Bulldog as well as the Dalmatian. I'll let you know how those drafts are going real quick. I mean, the Dalmatian, our team so far, y'all know I'm not a big DeAndre Swift guy, but quarterback, we have Joe Burrow. Running back, we have DeAndre Swift. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Tyler Lockett. Really like that team overall. I mean, I really like the value that we had with both T. Higgins in the 3rd round, as well as Joe Burrow at the very end of the 4th. And then the Bulldog, we're only 1 round into it, where we grabbed Cooper Kupp at pick 5, which I was excited about getting Kupp at pick 5. Now, Lance goes pick 164. Definitely hurts us. Y'all know that I'm a big-time Trey Lance fanboy, so I would have been excited about getting Lance on the way back around. But Blueberry says, come on, boys, 90 more likes. Yeah, 90 more likes, and I will push back the Dynasty live stream and fire up another Underdog draft here. Wan'Dale Robinson going off the board at pick 165. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft with us on Underdog Fantasy, you find that link in the comment section, find it in the description. Sign up with promo code FLOCK, and you're going to get a 100% deposit match. You'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings on top of that with a free trial to flockfantasy.com. Okay. So Irv Smith Jr. off the board. Good. Now we just need to get Juwan Johnson off. Dawson Knox goes. Just as many of these tight ends off as possible. Jelani says, do you think Lance starts? I think Trey Lance starts for a NFL team this next season. Trey Lance is by far my most drafted player on Underdog, not only quarterback, but at any position. I don't know if he starts for the 49ers, but what I do know is if you're looking at quarterbacks since the year 2000 that were drafted inside the top 3 picks of the NFL draft, there were only 2 guys that start fewer than 40 games in their NFL career, those being Jamarcus Russell and RG3, both of whom started at least 25. So historically, Trey Lance will either start this next season or be the biggest bust in NFL draft history. Now, like I said, I don't know if he'll start for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not super confident with that. I would love for it to be the case. In reality, it's hard to guarantee it, but it almost doesn't matter in my mind where Trey Lance is starting just because he has so much rushing upside. I think he's going to make it work regardless. Okay, Van Jefferson goes pick 173. Okay, Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, both falling. Obviously, Foss Moreau going over to New Orleans does negatively impact these guys just slightly. But selfishly for us, it'd be really nice to see these players go off the board. David says, I got Lance at 191 in Best Ball Mania this morning. That's 100% why he is my most drafted player so far, my friend. Like, I don't really see the downside with Trey Lance at that price point. Okay, now Rondale Moore goes Juwan Johnson, 175. Okay, that's good for us. Hopefully we get a Taysom pick soon. This team goes Tyquan Thornton. I've actually drafted a decent amount of Tyquan Thornton this year. This team only has Sam Laporta, so possibly we see them go tight end here. Definitely not a guarantee. They have been willing to deviate from ADP pretty damn strong. They go Joshua Palmer, 177. Michael Mayer, 178. Hell yes, we are going to go ahead. We're going to get Bryce Young. I mean, we talked about this at the very top. We're probably going to take Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett to get our second and third quarterback. We'll have Bryce Young double stacked with Jonathan Mingo as well as Adam Thielen. And we'll have Kenny Pickett stacked up with Pat Freiermuth. So yeah, this is why we passed on Bryce Young, just because I'm in more than enough of these drafts to know which players are going to fall past ADP. We're getting him here 17 picks past his ADP, and then we're going to get Kenny Pickett about 6 picks past. So I'm really excited about what we have there, and I think that honestly kind of makes this draft. I really like this one. Oh. Henry says the downside is Lance never plays. So if Lance never plays, he is the biggest bust in NFL history. If you want to try to predict that, you're more than welcome to. But how many likes are we away from 400? Let's see this. I really like our team so far. I know maybe we're a little bit biased, but nonetheless. Okay, we're about 70 likes from firing up another draft if you have not done that. Now, we have a question coming out from Daniel says, does Bryce run a lot? Nope, he does not. And that is why Bryce Young is going to be going down here at the 15-16 turn instead of up there with Anthony Richardson, who has an ADP of, I believe, 84. So, yeah. At running back, we have Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, and Tyler Algier. Wide receiver, we have Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, Mike Evans, Quentin Johnston, Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Tight end, we have Darren Waller, Pat Freiermuth. Quarterback, we have Daniel Jones stacked with Darren Waller. We have Pat Freiermuth stacked with Kenny Pickett. And we have Bryce Young stacked with Adam Thielen and Jonathan Mingo. Okay. I really like this. Really like this. Okay. And at this point, really good for us to see both quarterbacks and tight ends get drafted because we are going to be looking at a running back and wide receiver on the turn. We are running back, wide receiver from here on out. We are probably done taking these quarterbacks and tight ends. Okay, Leonard Fournette goes 187. Not going to lie, I've been taking a decent amount of these veterans. I'm not taking like multiple of them in the same draft, but there are a lot of drafts where I'm willing to go through and grab like one of Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, or Ezekiel Elliott. These guys that you do have the, uncertainty with their situation this next season, but at the same time, I don't know. They're essentially free. Jordan says, I'm in front and behind you. How have I done? Okay, so Jordan there at the 111. My man, thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us in this live stream. First off, horrible round one selection, sniping us on CeeDee Lamb. Next time, please let us get a wide receiver there at the 1-2 turn. But nonetheless, I would have taken Lamb there. Personally, I'm taking Saquon over St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Waddle. I probably am not going to have a lot of those early round 2 wide receivers just because personally, I see a teardrop after CeeDee Lamb, whereas I think you have Eckler, Taylor, and Barkley all in a similar range, but that's just my personal preference, of course. Andrews, 35, I definitely would have taken him there. Najee, 38, I definitely would have taken him there. Godwin, 59, clearly I was going to take Godwin if he fell. Mixon, 62, great value. Deontay Johnson, great value. James Conner, great value. Dak Prescott, significantly behind ADP to stack with CeeDee Lamb. I'm not a big fan of the Kirk Cousins selection, but I mean, you do have a pretty big teardrop if you want to just take Cousins there and be able to stop at 2 quarterbacks. McKinnon, obviously a big-time ADP riser. Jamal Williams for another running back. Osborne there at an ADP value to pair with Cousins. I really like this team, my man. Yeah, I really like the roster. Okay. Now let's swing this back around. Dylan says 50 more likes to go. Thank you for everybody going down there, dropping a like in the stream. Chase Claypool off, Cedric Tillman off as well. Cedric Tillman would have been someone we were looking at. Okay. So let's see. We are just running back and wide receiver from here on out. We're going to grab 1 RB and 1 wide receiver here at the turn. Noah Fant goes 201. I haven't drafted a lot of Gus Edwards. I mean, Gus Edwards will probably get touches on a week-to-week basis. It's just more like, what's the real upside here? I'll show y'all one of the running backs that I've been taking to try to be a little bit unique in round 18. Not super unique, but he's not going in every single one of these drafts, and I think maybe he's the best guy in this range. Tim Patrick goes. Okay, so first thing, we're going to take Paris Campbell. I mean, makes a lot of sense. We have Daniel Jones here. I think Paris Campbell's a fine pick in this range in general. So let's take Paris Campbell. And then our other guy that we have been sneaking in, and like I said, it's not like he never goes in these drafts, but he is going at a lower rate than what you have with a lot of these other running backs. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take James Robinson as well. I mean, with James Robinson, I think they can easily have a role playing alongside Ramondre Stevenson there in New England. He kind of won the NFL draft. They didn't do anything to address the running back position, but maybe New England goes out there and they sign Kareem Hunt. They sign Leonard Fournette. They sign Ezekiel Elliott. You don't really know. But let me go ahead and show what we did. So far, we have at running back Eckler, Taylor, Etienne as our top 3 guys. We have Tyler Algier, 156, and then we have James Robinson, 205. So we have a very strong running back room. Wide receiver, we're sitting with Amari, Ayuk, Mike Evans, Quentin Johnston. We have Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Paris Campbell. Quarterback, we have Daniel Jones stacked with Darren Waller. We have Bryce Young double stacked with Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo. We have Kenny Pickett stacked with Pat Freiermuth. If you look at some of the other correlation with our team, we have the combo of Austin Eckler as well as Quentin Johnston. We have the combo of Amari Cooper as well as Donovan Peoples-Jones. So, I mean, a lot of these guys we got at a strong value. A lot of these guys, in my mind, were the best values on the board at the time. We naturally fit correlation into our build. So, I personally like this. I mean, I like the team. Leg says, people sleeping on last round, James Robinson. Yeah. The Pound says, put this one in a museum. You flatter me, my friend. You flatter me. But, yeah, we have Gus Edwards, Michael Carter, Keontae Ingram, and Luke Musgrave going all here. Sam Howell off the board. Let me know what y'all think of Sam Howell. I haven't drafted a lot of them, but I could easily be wrong on this front. Like, do you think I need more Sam Howell in my life? I mean, I have been taking Jahan Dotson slightly ahead of ADP, and I've been taking Terry McLaurin at ADP. So maybe I should go ahead and grab a little Sam Howell here. But Jerome Ford, a running back that I'll mix in just a bit. But thank you for everybody coming and hanging out with this draft with us. Looks like we're not hitting 400 likes, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to get our usual Dynasty live stream going after this. Of course, if you want to get in our next draft, we will be live streaming Underdog drafts tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. You're going to find the link in the comment section, find it in the description, find it in the live chat. Sign up with promo code FLOCK for a 100% deposit match and our 2023 fantasy football rankings. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull up the link to our Dynasty live stream. If you want to go and hang out with us in that live stream, we will be live at 4 p.m. So we'll be live in 9 minutes. So I'm going to get y'all this link if you want to go to our next stream. Okay. We just spammed the link to our next stream in the live chat. I'm assuming the majority of y'all already are hanging out with us on that Dynasty channel anyway. But thank you so much. I really do appreciate all of you. Really do hope that y'all have a great day as well. And as always, if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. And I really hope you have a great one.